Reconvene.
Okay, Councillor Barfuss moves to reconvene. All in favor? Thank you. All right, so we are going to go to 8A, strategic plan, COPS item. Jeff, do you want to speak to those two items? Essentially, you're trying to get some consensus regarding some recommendations that George made.
So again, just trying to pick away through some of these recommendations, and this was an agenda I could throw a couple on. In our strategic plan under items 7.1.1 and 7.12, there's two recommendations that he gives, and just let me grab that real quick here. So 7.1.1 is adopt the governance and priorities committee to replace CCW. Oh, sorry, 7.1.1 is adopt an agendas committee. 7.1.2 is adopt the governance and priorities committee to replace CCW. I'd love to give an overwhelming endorsement of both of these. I'm just not sure I'm there. But if you as a council feel that way, I absolutely can see the benefit, and I gave George's reasons why in the appendix as well. So from my point of view only, but I would totally respect whatever you choose. An agendas committee seems to me that it would require me to haul 3 or 4 of you in every couple of weeks to go over the agenda that isn't particularly complex. And so that would concern me, having to task you all with finding time during the day for another meeting. That concerns me. Now, there may be some alternatives that accomplish the intent of an agendas committee, but don't require an agendas committee. Much less if I sent you a preliminary agenda, for example, on a Tuesday and said, anything you want to see different on, I need to know by Wednesday, end of business or something. You know, there could be electronic alternatives to save us from having to meet. But I just wanted, if starting with that one, I'd just like some feedback on it.
Okay, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm just trying to,
Councillor Creed,
That's
sorry.
okay, we get a different name.
It's all
It's
right.
the way we do with our kids too.
We all,
That's exactly right.
So what I'm wondering, you know, if we couldn't accomplish that by doing something, I think, very similar to what we do now. You meet with the mayor or the deputy mayor on the agendas, and if you was to, you know, continue doing that, maybe mayor and deputy mayor, if you wanted to, you know, keep it at that, that would be the agenda committee, and basically review the agenda similar to what you do now. You know, if you wanted to add a little flourish to it, you could do something. But that, you know, it seems like that you accomplish the purpose of the agenda with your communication, somewhat as it is.
Okay, the only difference would be I usually communicate with you or the mayor or the deputy after it's created. So I'm not getting any input into its creation, which, as an aside, and no offense, doesn't bother me, because I don't think we have such a complex agenda at the table that it's not being captured on the agenda. But, you know, I can see the benefit of some input prior.
Yeah, and I think there is some wisdom there too.
I think the key point to look at this here is that the purpose for that recommendation is so that council doesn't have, individual councillors don't have things that are being blocked or not getting onto the agenda.
Totally right.
I don't see that that has been a problem here. Councillor Bengry had something he wanted to put onto the agenda, he wrote up the little thing and Jeff threw it on. I think we're dealing with an issue that's not an issue, and so I would favor not doing anything.
Okay, all right. Councillor Barnes?
I hardly agree with Councillor Barfuss on it. I don't see it as an issue at all. I haven't had a problem with the agendas, how they've been accomplished.
Okay, so there is some satisfaction around this. What maybe Jeff wants to know at this point is, if it gives you the agenda early enough, if there is some items that you want to add, you would communicate that to him one way or the other, the same way as Councillor Bengry has done. Would that satisfy the purpose?
So to give you an example of Councillor Bengry's, he brought it into the last council. Can I get this on the agenda? You bet. that came on this agenda. If you ever find that I'm blocking any of your agendas from getting on the agenda, take exception to that, will you? Because you should.
But it has to be done within a proper time
Yeah,
frame too.
yeah. But he was very good
But
at it.
that's what I'm saying is
Yeah.
I haven't seen this as being an issue.
Right.
And so it feels like trying
We
to
don't
solve
need
a
to
problem
add
that doesn't
something.
exist.
Okay, all right. And, I mean, it's a good sense of healthy governance here. Councillor Edmonds?
And I think at every meeting, we ask if there are any additions to the agenda,
Right,
which solves the problem.
right. Which I would always recommend, if there is some background that needs to be given, make sure that if we don't have enough background, you accept to have a table if it's not time sensitive. Because time sensitive is sometimes an issue. Councillor Edmonds?
I know that in our CCW meeting, we bring a lot of recommendations, we talk about a lot of things, and that fills up an agenda for the next
Yes.
meeting or
it does.
two as it is. And Jeff, I think you get lots of input there, and it helps for you to formulate what the agenda should be coming up. Obviously, you're on the firing line, you're the one that has things happening all the time within the office with the capital expenditures, everything that you do sometimes has to be an agenda item, you bring it to us, we discuss it, and we work it out. So I don't think, I still agree with Councillor Barfuss. I think if it works, don't fix it. We're doing fine.
Councillor?
Call it what you want.
Yeah, well, I agree there, that we have right now, we have a council and an administration that works very well. The only thing I can see is that in the, some future time, if you get a bit of a broken council, perhaps a policy could be put into place that if a councillor isn't able to get his item on the agenda, that he has a remedy to bring it maybe to committee of the whole and get the council's approval and to say, I want this on the agenda. I can see maybe, like say,
Okay.
as a policy.
All right.
Or a remedy,
So,
so that something could
That will
happen.
go in your procedural bylaw.
yeah, but there is some possibility there regarding this item. If you were to bring something at council and said, I want to see this in the next agenda, we collectively can agree that this item will be put on the agenda. Am I not correct?
Sure, of course.
So that resolve your issue.
Well, yeah, like I say, if it was put into, if it needed to be put into, like I say, the
Councillor, committee of the whole or whatever.
well, like I say, the procedural bylaw for the
Okay,
committee, then
so
you'd have
yeah, we could tweak this one.
Yeah, so again, I agree with everything that's been said. I don't think that right now, the way we are operating as a council, we necessarily need this. I think it would be good to just put a note about the possibility of an agenda committee into a new council orientation, so that councillors were made aware that it was a possibility that at any point they could, bring that back if they felt that council was dysfunctional for them or whatever. So that it was, at least part of the culture and available at all times. But I don't see the need for this council at this time.
Okay, all right, so if I understand that is a no on this one, leave it alone.
Well, and probably for the sake of administration, they're looking for a way to complete this.
Well,
And so-
we'll just complete it.
Yeah,
I think
just
it's,
complete it.
the item is complete.
Although what I'm looking at here, Council, and tell me if, what of my notes I'm saying is potentially within the procedural bylaw, maybe there is some type of, if a councillor feels they're being particularly censored or from administration or council, their item is not getting to the agenda, because you guys could all decide to team up on Councillor Barnes, and he has a pet issue he wants on the agenda, you just refuse to discuss.
Yeah.
Nothing particular, Councillor Barnes,
Yeah,
I'm just
I
using
realize
it. We could look at maybe a small remedy within the procedural bylaw.
Yeah, we
For how that
could
could
do it so that it opens up the possibility of bringing an item forward.
I'll look at, maybe if there's something out there that works for that.
Yeah, good. 7:12, do you want to maybe address
So,
that?
I think we may have dealt with this somewhat inadvertently.
Yes.
But George was suggesting that we do this GPC where we discuss new policy issues at the
Right.
GPC. He actually suggested we meet no less than twice per month, which lost me for a minute. But At the same time, when we made the changes to our agenda to have a specific area for policy and bylaw, I kind of think we may have
So
dealt
that
with the issue of making sure that policy and bylaw, I think when I talked to George, he wants councils to be clear that your main role is bylaw and policy and these
Yes.
governance pieces. Well, we've put that as the first piece of our agenda for every meeting. And I think that
It kind of works for us.
that keeps it front of mind. We changed the agenda to be specific to bylaw and
Yeah.
policy. And I'm wondering if you share my feeling that we may have accomplished the goal of keeping that role of you as a council front and center.
I personally agree, but Councillor Bengry, do you want to talk about that?
Mayor, I'm just finishing my term as deputy mayor, and we've had two other councillors do the same thing. And why fix something that isn't broke? I mean, we all had the opportunity to meet with Jeff before CCW, go over him with a half hour, and he'll contact you and say, hey, you would like to meet with me a half hour before, and Mary, you're meeting with him, you know, before the minutes. Why do we have to worry about this?
Okay, this
We don't
one,
have a 35-item agenda either.
this one is really to kind of highlight the duties of council and to make sure that council is the driver regarding policies and bylaws, and that administration is the enabler, but we are the drivers. And I believe that the way we fixed the agenda, it was exactly to reflect us as being the drivers of policies and bylaws, although they're brought forward by administration, of course. But it allows us to represent our role better. And I think that, you're right, it's being done.
I have no problem with changing the name of the committee, and I kind of like the change here. Governance and priorities. We do that already in the CCW meeting. But I think this name kind of identifies really what our role is, and it sits well with me,
Yeah.
rather than council committee of the whole.
So where that came from, just so you know, that's just pulled from the act.
Yeah,
But this, it's just semantics, yeah. you're right.
it is, but it just
Yeah.
seems that it kind of defines our role in that meeting better. to me.
Except it's
That's my
that
view.
role at all meetings.
Yes,
All meetings, we should be focused on policies
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
bylaws. All meetings,
And
not
we-
only that one.
And we do, Mayor.
Yes,
And,
absolutely, I
and,
agree.
and it's also the responsibility of administration to come forward and say, hey, we've encountered this situation during the week. Do you want to develop as a council a policy on it? And so they turn it over. We are the
Drivers.
The drivers.
Yeah.
So I don't see any reason to change it.
Okay,
But I do like the.
Okay.
you
The
know,
name.
so let's deal with that. Is there an appetite to change the name of the Council of the Whole to Government and Priority Meeting?
How many of our
Yes,
public-
give me a sense, yes or no?
I'll give you the sense that I just gave Councillor Bengry across the table. I rolled my eyes.
All right,
Point taken.
What's in the name?
what's in the
That's
name?
my point.
Okay, what's in the name?
What's in the name?
Yeah.
How many of the public know what CCW stands for?
I mean, you know what the other means.
It tells you exactly what the other,
There's
you know,
much
the
more in that
wording
name.
tells you exactly what it does.
Okay,
But if
Councillor
you were to
Peavoy?
ask all the people in town what governance was, most of them wouldn't even know what it meant.
I don't think that's a fair statement. I think that we've got to give I think we need to give our public much better thought than that. I think that they totally understand what priorities and governance means, and I think that I think it behooves us to get a name that more aptly identifies what our role is. And I feel that strongly.
Okay, and you have the right to your strong feeling. Councillor Peavoy,
Yeah,
what's
I
your
don't have
opinion?
any objections to changing the name, but I don't see the need to
Okay,
either.
all
so,
That
yeah.
reflects.
Yeah.
I'm 50/50 on it.
Personally, I don't feel the need to change the name, but I appreciate your feeling. I really do.
One fear that
So-
I have is, as a committee of the whole, that's very understandable, that it's the expectation that we all be there. If we're the governance and priorities committee,
Who are
future
we?
councils might say, well, why do we need so many councillors on that? Let's just throw 3 on there, they can sort that all out,
Yeah.
come back with recommendations.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Okay, so at this point, there's no changes.
Well, Mayor,
Yes.
over the years, I have been inundated with acronyms, and I'm sick of it. Because
you
you
know what?
cannot figure out what all these, CCW, MSI, everything else.
You know
And
something, I
think
agree with
if you put wording to it, then everybody will understand what it is. They know how to read.
All right, that's your opinion, and I respect your opinion, very much so. Councillor Barfuss, you
I
want
was
to
just
add
gonna say, if we
something?
called it the governance one, you don't think that it would, for our purposes, it would get shortened down to a
GMP.
GMP? Absolutely it would. That's what we would be calling it.
Well, I think we gotta be careful then, because we're a society of
Abbreviations.
electronic media, and their language is totally
Okay.
different.
Councillors, I appreciate your philosophical conversation, but I think at this point, there's no desire to change. In the future, if there is, we shall come back to it. Okay.
If Grant were still
18.
with us, he'd fix this.
Okay. Pool funding. Let's go back to something that is an important issue that we need to fix. All right. So Jeff is going to help you understand, since we're just getting it now.
Jeff's gonna sort of ask you for more money in a round.
Well,
What happened is
Right.
in 2013, we did the original quote for the water slide, for the water slide portion, and then we had some assumed costs and other quotes on groundwork, plumbing, decking, concrete, runouts, fencing, all that other stuff. And so what we did in 2015 going into the year, because we didn't have firm quotes on everything, is we reserved $140,000 for pool reserves that we reserved in 2015. So we are finishing up, the pool actually lands here, the water slide actually lands here tomorrow.
Good.
And we ran into some things along the way that we had to put some huge piles deep in the ground instead of a deck. We were just gonna do a thickened slab. And it ended up that we had to do piles all through everywhere the slide would be supported. And then we have the contractor coming to do a whole bunch of the rest of the deck work and all the flat work and everything on the pool. A little bit beyond the water slide, but it's just gonna round out the pool deck and the landscaping, and so we're just gonna finish all that up while the weather's holding. So now that we have all that, and we actually got a few other drains and some other pieces for the water slide long-term, we'd like to move some of that money in our pool reserve to be spent this year instead of reserved through the year end. So that's what you see at the requested action on the bottom. Request permission to utilize $65,000 of the $140,000 budgeted in 2015 for the additional pool reserves to fund the water slide project.
Do you
Okay.
need a motion for
All
this?
right.
I do
Yeah,
need a
you
motion for this, yes.
Councillor Barfuss.
I'd like to make a motion that we request, that we give permission to utilize $65,000 of the $140,000 budgeted for 2015 for the additional pool reserves to fund the shortfall for the water slide project.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. This one is done. And we have approved the financial report, so now all what we need is to go to 11, Prairie Canada Futures Game Date. October 26th is a Monday, I think.
It is, correct.
Can you explain to me what that is again?
That's,
Can I check right back?
yep,
I think it's a big monopoly game.
that's the,
It's a simulation.
farm sim,
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
thing, the thing we were all gonna go to.
It's a simulation game that would allow you to see the impact of decision-making on
What day were we looking at again?
October
Sunday,
26th,
like a
it's a
month.
Monday.
October 26th.
I don't know from what time to what time, we have to decide.
Several.
2 to 5, 3 to 6, 4 to 7. You have to decide on those time frames.
Where the
What's-
facilitators coming from?
You're asking me a good question. that doesn't really tell me right
I
here.
think the later times.
Well, that makes for a couple of packed days of council meetings.
That's right.
The next day, it is going to be Tuesday, yes. But October 26th, it's about the only date that they're offering us.
No, I get it.
I'm leaving on the 28th for 5 days.
Okay, so
So,
essentially, how many of you are able to make that October 26th?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're all able to do, that's good. Now, how many would prefer 3 to 6 to any other options? Or 4 to 7?
4 to 7.
4 to 7, supper,
How many?
supper.
Later is better for me.
4 to 7? Okay, all right.
If
How many-
supper served?
Yes. Hey,
Yeah, we got that separate.
this is, you know,
I can buy you some sandwiches.
It might be 4
now,
to
just a
7:30.
minute. I want to get on a subject of supper to this council. And I'm really serious when I say this. We have in this room diabetics, and they have to eat. And there are other medical conditions that have to eat. So I'm not being sadistic or anything else. I mean, if we're gonna run into that supper hour, that counselor that's got diabetes has to have food.
Well, there's
And
nothing
it's
that's
not me
stopping
that has
them from bringing-
diabetes, but I mean, there's other reasons.
Okay, no, that's all
I'll
right.
claim diabetes if it gets.
Okay. Okay, so 4 to 7, Jeff, on
Okay.
October 26th, and it appears that there will be a whole council there.
Okay.
Okay? Correspondence. You can see there is MSI Capital, MSI Operating, that the Ministry of Municipal Affairs has been kind enough to let us know that we were happy to have spent our money.
Have we got any of our money yet that's coming?
Yes, it's all in the bank.
We don't, on that, we don't have all of our MSI capital.
But you got all your operating.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, shipping.
So anyway, it's coming, obviously. Our administration was very wise to make sure that money were available to pay for all those capital projects, so we appreciate
Mayor, can I
that.
ask administration, how does it look for paving this month?
I'll know tomorrow a little better.
Because I think we're all getting phone calls for the dust since we've had some windstorms,
Yes.
you know, down Second Avenue.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I am also anxious to see the paving going on. So 12C, Alberta Dispute Resolution Network. This is a course that the Municipal Affair offers. I have gone to one of those. They're very good, but they're there for your information. Okay? And having said that, if there is no other question, we going to need a motion to go in.
I'll make a
camera.
motion to go in camera.
Okay, Councillor Bengry, thank you. All in favor? For the public sake, we have a land purchase item that we need to discuss. Thank you.